Hello and welcome to the fourth Healthy Human Project Q&A. It is halfway between Christmas and New Year's, so I hope you had a very Merry Christmas and I hope you do have a Happy New Year. We're going to answer just one question today to keep it nice and short, and it's very much holiday related, and the answers can go many different directions, so for your sake, I'm going to try to keep it as short as possible. But this week's question is, how can we reframe the indulgence of the holidays? So a lot of people might be used to hearing that you shouldn't indulge too much over the holidays. I'm actually one who says, yes, you absolutely should, because in theory we should be practicing more restriction. And I know the word restriction gets has a lot of negative connotations, shall we say, but in a world, in a landscape where 90+% of the food we have is food that we really shouldn't be eating because it's not food that existed 100 years ago, things that are processed, frozen, etc. Whereas 100 years ago, we were eating a lot more things that were freshly harvested, not packed full of sugar and salt. In that reference, we should be restricting ourselves today throughout most of the year, but around holidays, we should absolutely be indulging and celebrating the foods that have become cultural staples in our world. So, wherever that might be for you. Here in the United States, we have, of course, tons of baked goods. Often holiday drinks might be something that is a tradition in your family or amongst your friends and neighbors. So we should absolutely not be separating ourselves from our culture and denying the things that have become synonymous with fun and celebration around the holidays by saying no to those things. We should be partaking in the things that have made these holidays fun in the first place: food, drink, being around other people. That last part, in a pandemic, practice safe distancing as much as you can. Choose the people that you're going to spend your time around carefully. This is very much a weird time of year to kind of be discussing that part of staying cultural and trying to celebrate tradition rather than stay away from it. But anyway, let's get back to the original question of how can we reframe this indulgence. So to elaborate, this person was asking, what can I do with all this extra energy that I'm putting in my body, all this extra food, all this extra beverage? She is indulging in the holiday festivities. So what can she do to benefit basically from all this extra energy that she's not used to consuming, but she is because it's the holidays? Well, that actually plays into what I tell people, which is throughout the year to go through a cycle of weight gain and then a cycle of weight loss, because honestly, that's what our ancestors did. There were seasons where fruit was going on trees and lots of game was around to hunt. So they would get an influx of food and almost certainly put on weight during these times, whereas most likely in winter, when things aren't growing, it's harder to harvest, it's harder to find food, you almost certainly had a season of weight loss. So our ancestors did this annually, going through a time of adding weight and a time of losing weight. And I think medicine and research corroborates this, that our bodies like to do what they have been doing for millennia. So I encourage people to go through a season of weight gain and a season of weight loss throughout the year, where you're averaging at a healthy weight. But during the season of weight gain, which I recommend being the winter time because we aren't really going out to the pool, so we don't have to, walk around with our shirts off, which there's no shame in walking around with extra pounds, but I know culturally, that's definitely been ingrained in me that I would prefer to be on the leaner side if I'm going to go to the pool and have my shirt off. And during my fluffier season, I'd rather that be sweater season, because honestly, the extra weight helps keep warm outside. I'm pointing outside behind me because we just got our first real snow of the season, and honestly, going through the season of weight gain and having that extra weight on keeps you warmer outside. So it really just makes sense that if you're going to gain weight, you do it for winter. We see that in nature across every animal out there, don't we? You bulk up for the winter so that you can stay warm, and then you lose some of those pounds in the winter time. So I definitely think the best way to reframe indulging in the holidays is to put those extra calories towards building muscle, maybe even just being more active. The extra energy that you have should fuel more activity. So the nice thing about living in today's day and age is that we have tons of indoor facilities that are heated and comfortable, so you can still go and work out in a 70-degree environment. So I would encourage you to put those calories to good use. Don't just sit around on the couch. We obviously don't want to be sedentary at any points of our life. That's basically, it's the new smoking. If you listen to NPR and know who Dr. Zorba Pastor is, I remember, I think it was last year, if it wasn't last year, it was the year before, where he was talking about, yes, if you've heard that sitting is the new smoking, it's exactly right. You don't want to be sedentary. So all these extra calories that you're consuming, take them to the gym, join a recreational league. I think the most common thing in fitness is going to be go and try to actually add some muscle. Focus on resistance training, whether that means increasing the amount of weight that you're doing on exercises that you maybe do throughout the year but never really push yourself on strength-wise. Go focus on strength for a few months. It's not going to do you a whole lot of benefit if you're only celebrating for 2 or 3 weeks to go and say, okay, for these 2 or 3 weeks, I'm going to go add some weight at the bar and see if I can build some muscle. Doesn't really work that quickly. You can still do it just to go kind of see, hey, wow, I've never actually tried to do a weight that I could only lift 3 to 5 times. I'm usually doing 10 or more reps with every set and therefore using less weight. So maybe for those few weeks, it's enough for you to just kind of have fun and be like, I'm going to add some weight to the bar and I'm going to see how much I can do at least 3 or up to 5 times. The reason I suggest 3 to 5 is because if you're trying to really max out all of a sudden, you're not used to going really heavy and you're going to say, I'm just going to see how much I can lift, period. There's a good chance your body's not trained to brace for that amount of weight. So making sure that it's something that you can do at least 3 times, preferably closer to 5 times, is a good indicator that you're lifting a weight that your body does have the ability to brace for and control. Just keep in mind that once you've hit rep 3, if you're not certain you can get a 4th rep, you might want to rack the weight, set it down, whatever lift you're doing, put it down. Don't try to hit that failure point yet if you haven't trained for that. Another way we can reframe indulging in the holidays is, I guess, celebrating that culture, that tradition for our species of going through the annual cycles of weight loss and weight gain. I recently had a conversation with someone, a young girl, who has never been heavy her entire life, and I can relate to that. I never really gained weight and didn't have ab definition until my late 20s. That's just how fast my metabolism was. So for people who have never been heavy, you could say they're blessed to have fast metabolism and just habits that keep them lighter. Try to actually put on 5 pounds over the course of the holidays. Just try to make it a goal to see if you can do it. It's honestly a really good skill for people like myself, or at least myself about 10 years ago, to learn, can I gain weight and how do I do that? What does it look like to eat to gain weight? What does it look like to be in a caloric surplus so that I can actually build some muscle if I wanted to? Again, muscle building is a months-long process, despite what you might have seen in certain marketing materials. It does take a lot of time. If you've never done it, if you've never committed to building muscle and you're a smaller person, there's a good chance you'll experience more progress in the beginning. But for most people, even skinnier people who are just starting to build muscle for the first time, it's still a slow process. The scale going up might be fast, but there's a good chance not all of that, probably not even most of that in most cases, is muscle. A lot of it's going to be water, and a good chunk of that's going to be fat for most people. The body just really struggles to build actual muscle on more than like a 1 to 2 pound basis per month. And once you've actually started building muscle and you've kind of like reached your peak natural ability to build a certain amount of muscle, the closer and closer you get to whatever your body's genetic limit is, you're talking like 1 to 2 pounds a year maybe at that point. And then that's kind of getting to the point where a lot of people start turning to things they shouldn't be putting in their body, steroids, and things that should be steroids but are not called steroids. I'm thinking of SARMs or whatever those things are, the fake testosterone receptor booster whatevers. Can't remember exactly what they're called. I don't use them, never have, never will. But you get the point. People start turning to things that make the body do things it wasn't naturally intended to do or consume. So I think we'll keep it there since this video is already, over 10 minutes. Reframing the holiday indulgences. Put those calories to good use, enjoy them, celebrate the fact that you're a human being and your ancestors went through cycles of weight loss and weight gain, and be a part of that tradition. If you never have before, try to go through a season of weight gain. See if you can put on, even if it's just 2 or 3 pounds, but try to see if you can get up to 5. And there's a good chance the moment you return to your normal schedule, if this is you, that you're probably going to lose those pounds within the next month or 2. Just by returning back to your normal routine, your normal activity level. Your body's pretty good about self-regulating what its weight is used to being. So if you're used to being, let's say 150 pounds and you got up to 155 over the course of the holidays, there's a good chance your body's going to go right back down to 150 within a couple months. If you're someone who is on the heavier side and you're indulging, focus on strength. Go in there, and if you're, hopefully you're used to lifting, you have an idea of what your strength level is, go in there and push it a little bit. See if those extra calories over the course of a few weeks help you add 10 to maybe even 20 pounds of strength on whatever, the bar or the machine, whatever it is you're used to testing your strength on. Put them to good use. Is there something else I can think of about how to reframe the holidays? Not really reframing in terms of fitness. Again, just celebrating your culture. Whatever country you're in, whatever holiday you celebrate, that's another part of being a human, is celebrating seasons, celebrating holidays, being with friends and family. So don't restrict the things that are holiday traditional foods and beverages, because in a way you're kind of restricting the celebration itself. So be a part of the celebration. Don't hold back. Obviously be safe and be careful around the people that you choose to be around during a pandemic. The amount of alcohol that you might consume, especially if you have to drive or something later. Be safe, but have fun, and don't hold back on the holidays. So anyway, with that being said, hope you had a very Merry Christmas. Hope you have a Happy New Year, and I guess I'll see you next year. Dad joke, gotta do it.